I'll just keep letting people in as they come.
Yeah. Morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to this presentation. I'm going to give a short recap of who we are, what we are, and what we're trying to do for those that haven't necessarily been involved in the conversations to date. You know, I note that in the first presentation we gave, where we started to position ourselves, we had something like 35 people present. I think this presentation has got closer to 70 to 80 people present. So I do intend to just give a brief outline of who we are and what it is that we're doing, and then move on quickly to the aspiration. And for those that are relatively new to this presentation piece and the cyber scheme specifically, we have taken lots of the soundings out from the industry to talk about what sort of scheme do you want to see, how do you think we need to structure it. We've done a lot of soul searching around how we finance and fund ourselves, what we're all about, what we're trying to do, who we want to partner with, and so what you're seeing today is a combination of all those conversations coming to fruition as one presentation to you, the industry, because this is your cyber scheme. So it's a presentation to you on who we are and what it is that we're about and what we're going to be trying to do here. So let's move on to the first slide. So the cyber scheme, we, as you can see from the graphic on the right hand side, we are an examinations body at the moment, predominantly providing CTM, CTL infant app, and IASME qualifications for people. Currently in flight, and Andy will probably talk about this a little bit later. We are also working in collaboration with NCSC to create the new cyber advisor role. So all of the exams that you see there are authorized and set by and meet the standards that are set by NCSC. And in fact, we have a contract in the same way that everybody else does with NCSC to provide those exams. So whilst we are an examination body, you will see from this scheme, from this presentation today, that we intend to become more than that, while we intend to become more representative for you, the industry. One of our differentiators, as far as we see it, is that we have oversight from a governance board, which I'll come on to later and explain how that is structured. And we are also operating in collaboration with university partners. University collaboration is important to us. It gives us part of the governance, and it also enables us to look forward at some of the more future looking types of exams that we want to get involved with. We're in an exciting growth phase now, predominantly because we have been around for some time, but haven't necessarily raised our head much above the parapet. We have, over the last 6 months, taken, as I said, a lot of soundings around who and what we should be doing and how we should be constructing ourselves. And now we're ready to get out there and present ourselves, which is part of the purpose of today. We are obviously capable of delivering the graphics that you see on the right, the exams that you see on the right, but we wish to move on very much into the red teaming space. We absolutely want to move on into the IoT and OT disciplines. All of these are areas at the moment that are not necessarily well represented when it comes to structures and orders for people to go out and deliver those types of services. So we want to work with the industry to begin to grow out some of those capabilities and do it in collaboration with NCSC. I don't think there's any point in us trying to do these things if we don't do it with the National Technical Authority. And then at the very, very bottom there, one of the core tenets of what we're trying to achieve here is we want to encourage new talent into the industry. I think everybody on this call will recognise the fact that there is a real talent shortage. So we need to create a career pathway through which people can come and join in. I've got a dreadful echo on the line, so somebody's unmuted. If we move on then and just talk a little bit about enabling choice.
Charles White, be a pro and mute yourself.
Hello.
Yeah, Charles White needs to mute himself, I think.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's much better now. We had a load of echo.
We did, yes. Sorry. I don't know where that came from. Right. So let's talk a little bit about enabling choice. So the first really important point to note is that Cyber Scheme itself is not for profit. We're contracted with NCSC to provide the current check qualifications that you saw on the previous slide. We want to expand that range into red teaming, into the best, if you want to call it that, environment. And also we need to look at the world of operational technology and IoT and work with you, the industry, to bring together some testing standards around how that could be managed. And one of the reasons why we have close collaboration with universities is if you go and take somewhere like Warwick that we're partnered with, they have an absolute central focus on the automotive industry. And likewise, if you go down to Plymouth and talk to Kevin Jones at Plymouth, they have an absolute focus on the maritime industry. So we're very, very keen to partner with those sorts of university entrants so that we can work with them to help define better testing standards and testing methodologies around all those examples. So we're looking to work with Industry U to build an alternative examination body. We know that we exist alongside CREST, and that's absolutely fine. And all we are looking to do here is just be an alternative to that which CREST offers. And CREST does a great job as it is, and we're not looking to do anything other than just be an alternative to people. We want to expand our focus currently into these new areas that I've talked about. And we want to have a novel approach to membership, which doesn't preclude the smallest operators. And I'll come on to that in a little while, but we've spent a long time thinking about membership and how it works. And we absolutely understand that for the large organizations out there, another membership fee is probably neither here nor there, but for the smaller operators, yet another membership fee doesn't always operate. So we're hoping that we're taking a novel approach to that, which will chime with everybody. Our not-for-profit ethos means that whilst we will create surpluses, we are partnering very much in more of a charitable form to provide support education to young and vulnerable groups, but also we're looking to use some of the distributable surpluses that we have, and we know that we've got lots of work to do ourselves, but we're looking to take distributable surpluses and work with people like the National Crime Agency on the kids that are necessarily going to go the wrong way. Let's try and encourage them to go the right way, and if we can do that with the support of you, the industry, then I think that really works. So we have already engaged with the council. We're a member of the council. We've engaged with them. We want to work with them to help create a community and help work with you, with charitable giving, to have a not-for-profit ethos, but also work with the council as well to bring together a much more cohesive entity that works for all. And I think the final point is everything that we're doing is in support of that national cybersecurity strategy that was identified recently in 2022. So that's the choice that we are bringing this novel approach to life. But I think let's just focus a little bit on what's in it for you guys, what's in it for you, the industry. So yeah, we're going to be providing exams. We will be giving discount on exams for those individuals that are going to those organizations that are going to have membership with us. We are running a number of projects that are aimed at improving either assessment standards or creating new roles. I think Andy hopefully is unmuted, but you saw there that we're working on the cyber advisor role, and that cyber advisor role is one that NCSC thinks is critical. We are working on the design out of that, and so we're looking to bid for more of those sorts of projects, and there are more in the pipeline, and then assisting and working with the industry to help deliver some of those standards. So we want to be a sort of mouthpiece for the industry, but actually we also want to just work with the industry to make things better and improve not only assessment standards, but also improve the quality of people that are out there and coming into the industry specifically. So we want to work with you, the industry, on that sort of stuff. So that means that for organisations, they can go to market and say, yeah, we have been involved in that particular project and helping to define this standard, or helping to define this structure, this order, this methodology, whatever it happens to be. Looking at bringing on talent, we have a vision that we should, and I think for lots of people that are out there, you understand that we are partnered with the Cybersecurity Challenge. We want to go back to that old ethos of encouraging people that haven't necessarily gone through the traditional route of university and then into one of your organisations as probably a graduate and trained up and then pass their exams. We want to bring people in. We need you, therefore, the industry, to help us craft the whole raft of explainer videos and training material, which can be branded your own brand. We don't care, but we need to be able to take the postman, for want of a better word, who's probably very bright, very capable, very good, but we need to create a more up-to-date version of what the challenge was doing, where those people can go away and they have a YouTube channel where they can go and they can get tutorials on things that they don't necessarily understand. And that way we can start bringing people through and into the industry. So, you know, your company, your logo, your credentials can all be associated and linked with all these projects that you're contributing towards. And we want to make sure that everybody is showcased here, and everybody who is part and parcel of the project gets the benefit of being able to go out and talk about their involvement in it. And then the final piece there, we want feedback of stuff that you're seeing in the industry, as well as stuff that you're seeing in work that you do, so that we can make sure that the exams are fit for purpose. You know, we've recently had to update the exam rigs. I'm sure you're all very aware of that, but we need to have more of a live updating process for that. So if you in the industry are seeing this particular issue, then that particular issue needs to be reflected in the exam that we are getting people to sit. And we can go and work with NCSC then to make sure that the examination rigs are much more up to date and much more appropriate for the market that we're dealing with, as opposed to expecting people to understand technologies that are necessarily 10 to 15 to 20 years old. So that's what's in it for you. The time commitment that we're going to be asking people to give us, and for those of you that have not been on any of these presentations today, the novel approach that we are taking to membership is that we are not asking you to pay a membership fee. We are simply asking people to donate and give us time. And you'll see from the membership slide in a minute the amount of time that you need to commit to and give to us. But I think it's important that people understand what we're going to do with the time that's committed. So, for example, the creation of that cyber advisor role is probably a 50 to 60 day project. There is absolutely no reason why we can't split that 50 to 60 day project into 10 bite-sized chunks or 10 phases within that project. And what we're seeking to do is then go out to you, the members, and say, if you want to contribute, or if you want to deliver any one of those particular bits of that project, then please just tell us and we'll put you down to deliver that project. So this covers the creation of exams, the creation of the skills syllabus that has recently been published by NCSC. It incorporates anything that we might bid for from NCSC on the development of new standards, new types of roles, new offerings. I mean, I think there's been some talk about creating a second tier cyber forensics type role. All of these sort of things we can go and bid for with you, and then we can seek for you to assist us in the delivery of that. The supply of exam assessors is also important. We would encourage all our members to, if they have people that they want to consider for assessor roles, then we would be really interested in talking to you. But we want to increase the number of exams that we are running. Therefore, we need to increase the number of assessors that we're running. And under the new rules that have come out for the next iteration of the CTL exams, there is much more that needs to be reviewed, and it's likely that the number of assessors to candidates is going to be significantly changed. So we are looking for more invigilators and assessors to come and support us. The workshops for talent discovery. So in a real world, you know, we will, as we talked about with our cybersecurity challenge partnership and working with the ladies and gents at the Cybersecurity Challenge, and Bob Noble is on the call here today. We want to create a new way of identifying talent that's out there. As I said, that hasn't necessarily gone through the traditional means, but if we're going to do that, we need to develop pathways for that talent to come in, which again is part of the creation of those YouTube type videos, those tutorials. You know, we can take the skills framework and we can, for CTM level, and we can take a number of different disciplines and say, if anybody out there is interested in creating a simple, you know, half an hour tutorial session, then that's what your membership is paying to do. Please go away and do that, send it to us, and then we can add that to the overall library. So bringing through talent is something that's really important to us. And I think rather than taking a membership fee, to be able to get time donated from all the incredibly smart people that are on this call to help individuals that are desperate to get into this industry, let's sort of take the glass ceiling away and give a pathway for people to come in, enable people to come and at least try to come and be part of this overall industry. We obviously need people to give time so that we can create further questions, either as part of long form or part of multiple choice. We have to constantly update the examination rig. Back to the point about if you are seeing a specific attack vector, or you're seeing a specific vulnerability that isn't necessarily, or technology that isn't necessarily shown within or included within the current exam, and Andy can tell you what's in the current exam because we have a skill syllabus which is on our website, then we need you to help us to provide updates to that examination rig so that that becomes an ever living and breathing and evolving examination for all concerned. It also means that it doesn't remain static, and therefore we don't have the issues that perhaps we have seen to date, which would then tend to lead everybody getting into trouble, which is not what we're looking to do. I've talked a little bit about some of the projects that we're bidding for. You can see there forensics, incident response, red teaming, and cyber adversity simulation. These are all projects that we want to spin off, that we want to start creating, and therefore we need time from the industry. And I know, and I do understand that for a lot, giving time is equally really hard to do when you can be charging those talented people out at exceptionally high day rates. So I get that, I do understand it, but we are trying to be appropriate here across the piece, and we're trying to attract the larger companies as well as the smaller companies. As we move on into the sort of see best, for want of a better word, type environment, red teaming, we need to work in collaboration with NCSC in defining the red teaming piece. But we also know that we have a number of internal projects that we need to look at, 17024 and 17065, both of which will enable us to operate at a much, much higher level and to operate providing a greater level of assurance on all of those exam standards. Andy can go into greater detail, but these are internal projects that are not necessarily going to be for the betterment of the industry, but we do need people, and there will be people that are out there that are well versed in these standards that may be able to come and help us as part of your time commitment and to give us assistance and steer in helping us to get those projects set up. And then at the end we have management of projects, so supporting vulnerable communities, helping, as I say, the sort of example of the National Crime Agency that is re-educating individuals about let's take the right path here. Again, we want to assist in providing help there, and we need time commitment from you, the industry, to help us. So you've got a good example there of what it is that we're going to do with all our time commitments. For those that say, yeah, it's great, but I'm not sure that we can do that, and I've spoken to a number of large organisations, and I do fully understand. For those that don't want to necessarily give their time because they have an opportunity cost that dictates otherwise, then we will ask for financial fees to be paid, and that's fine, but it's completely open to people. Of those financial fees that will be paid, those fees will only be made to really kickstart and accelerate what we're looking to do. Back to 17024 and 17065. It'll be those internal projects that will be funded by any financial commitment that we're given. So just to go on and look at what we're looking with proposed membership packages. So that top level, that diamond level, we're asking over 3 years, let's be clear, for 45,000. There's no time donation, and we will give discounts on CTL exams. For gold, there is no membership fee, but we're asking people to give us 20 days a year, and again there is a 20% discount on fees. And then all the way down to bronze, where we're simply asking for 5 days, and that might be 5 days provided from somebody who is a small owner manager business that says, actually, I'm happy to be an assessor, and I can do 5 days assessment for you a year. That's absolutely great. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Or alternatively, silver for a smaller organisation that says, we're going through growth pains. We can just about afford to give you 10 days, and that particular project that you're doing on incident response or cyber advisory role, there's 2 packages of work in there that we believe, they're 5 days each, that actually my guy or lady here would be perfectly capable of delivering that for you and writing that up and getting that done for you. So we'd like to be involved in that, and that's our commitment. So that's absolutely fine. Managing the time is obviously going to be important to us, and it's critical that we do that and do that properly. But from my point of view, I think giving time is going to be much, much better than trying to do any other way any other way. So I think time means that there is no financial commitment. Time also means that there is contribution to all the projects that we're going to do, which means that you can then go and showcase yourself as an organisation and being part of this community, for want of a better word. So let's just have a very quick look at who our partners are. So as I've said, we are absolutely partnered up with the Cybersecurity Challenge. The Cybersecurity Challenge, as you all know, have been synonymous over the years with attracting new talent, bringing them in through the industry. I mean, it's done such an amazing job over many, many, many years, and we're really proud to be part of the community with them. And we're back now. You know, we've been through COVID. People are much more used to sitting on Zoom calls or team calls or whatever. We need to create the new version of the Cybersecurity Challenge, which is a little bit more automated, thus the YouTube channels. We need to encourage, rather than creating challenges, but let's create tutorials, and let's give people a chance to try and progress up through the industry. And we talked about not-for-profit. The not-for-profit element then comes in with our Cyber Trust, who we're absolutely partnered with, and that's part of our governance. And the Cyber Trust are there because they're looking to enhance, educate, protect citizens of the United Kingdom. And so, you know, if we're there bringing new talent into the industry, which helps you, the membership, and we're also creating surpluses because we're doing well, then actually we can give some of that money to fund projects that are going to help vulnerable communities, vulnerable citizens, you name it. But what's really, really clear is that we will make sure that we're very transparent in how we're going to bring talent into the industry and how we're going to distribute surpluses through the trust. And we have Bob Knoll on the call today from the Cybersecurity Challenge. Don't know if you want to say hello, Bob, if you're unmuted.
Yeah, I'm here and delighted to be here. Everything you've said is right. What we're trying to do is simply modernise the way the challenge used to work over the last 12 years into the new era, as you said, Charles. And we're making some good progress with that. There's lots of information on the website, as always, and we're pretty active at the moment on a number of things that are going on out there. So great to be part of this partnership.
And likewise, we also have Dame Janet Trotter, I think, on the call as well. So Dame Janet is the chair of the Cyber Trust with the trustees underneath. And again, from Janet's point of view, this partnership works. Again, Janet, I don't want to speak for you. If you just want to give a very brief hello. Are you there, Janet? She's there somewhere.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. Oh, good morning, everyone. It's good to be here. And we actually think this is very exciting in all sorts of ways for the industry and for ordinary citizens. And everywhere the trust goes, we find that parents, children are very worried about cybersecurity and the safety of vulnerable people. And actually, pretty well every child is vulnerable, and every elderly person. So there's quite a lot to do in this space, and we're very much looking forward to working with you on the agenda.
Fantastic. Thanks, Janet. Okay, so those are our partners. As I said, immediate objectives. So the immediate objectives for us in the cyber scheme. So obviously we want to encourage you, the industry, to book exams through us. Debbie has done a lot of work on putting an automated system together, which hopefully makes life a little bit easier for you, so you have visibility of when exams are. We want to apply to the financial regulatory body, that is Bank of England, to provide CBEST type exams and red teaming type exams. So under the CBEST, TBEST, GBEST, whatever other best that exists, we're looking now, and after this presentation, there'll be a call to arms for us to say, for those people that want to have sponsorship, who now wants to be part and parcel of that overall team that will start looking at building out the next, or the cyber schemes iteration of what that needs to look like. But let's do it with you, the industry. And then working with university partners, building out exams. I've mentioned two of them today, Plymouth and Warwick, automotive and maritime. You, the industry, will have other universities that you're affiliated with, that you have partnerships with. Please, we would love to work with you and with them to bring more to play. And then the final piece there is we need to work with industry partners to define training modules. We will, the cyber scheme will be providing a degree of training. If we're going to have a talent train through from sort of basic, let's teach you some of the more advanced techniques within cybersecurity, we do need to have some form of training offering that we can give to those individuals so that they can come on board and then look, not by trying to get them to boot camp, but get them through check team member-esque type exams or cyber advisor type exams. So we will be providing a degree of that training. And then when we look at the cybersecurity challenge, the training links in with exactly what Bob has just said. The 12 years that the challenge has been around, they're going to work with the cyber scheme now, and you, all the partners. Let's start creating an absolute trail of talent looking to come into the industry. And Janet, without stealing again your thunder, thank you for what you just said, but we need to equip people. So if between the challenge we can help at least bring more people into the industry, the cyber scheme can create good structured and well structured exams at the industry and work with the industry, then there will be surpluses. That means that we can then, all of us can put something good back into what we're doing here and go and support the Cyber Trust in helping equip people, I think is exactly as the words say there on the screen. So those are our immediate objectives. The collaboration together, I think you'll see this graphic posted on each of our websites, which talks very much to the point about collaboration. We're looking at community skills development, governance, collaboration projects, and research are all the things that we are doing together. But you can see from the cyber scheme point of view and from the from our interface with the industry, we're very much looking at the development of all of that exam standards that is currently there today and creating those in the vision that you, the industry, have. So I said I'd talk a little bit about the governance structure. So the Cybersecurity Challenge has its own current limited company number, its board of directors, and the Cyber Trust has its charitable status. So it is a full-on charitable trust. So it has its trustees. And the cyber scheme, we have our board of directors. But underneath where we are today, we have a board of directors, but we are looking at you, the membership. So we will be looking for people to come and represent the membership. We have academia, which we want represented. We have the council, who we are a member of, and in return are going to contribute to the efforts that we're doing. And we have also allocated a seat at that table for NCSC, so that we never are going to do anything that isn't with the approval of NCSC, and in the absence of their approval, at least them being aware of what it is that we are doing and our course of direction. And above all of that, we have our governance board, which has strategic oversight, financial oversight, and oversight of joint projects. We had our first, I think we called it partnership board, actually, we had our first partnership board a couple of weeks ago, really well received. And I think from there, that's why we have commonality across what's happening in the cyber scheme, the cyber trust, and the cybersecurity challenge. So that brings everything together, and brings everything together also under a transparent light, so everybody can be can have visibility of what it is that we're doing. So that's where we are. That's what we're doing. Next steps from today, we're now open for membership applications. So you can see there, if you email Debbie, she will send you through membership application form, and you can donate, and you can decide exactly what it is that you want to do. We are, we're not asking people to dip in that 45,000. If you want to, that's great. If you want to give us time, then equally that's great. But we just want to encourage everybody to be part and parcel of this journey with us. The more people we have involved, the quicker we can go. The quicker we go, the more representative we will be of you, the industry. So that is probably enough from me for the moment. I think I've whittled on long enough. Are there any questions? I'll leave it on that. Any questions from anybody? You might want to raise your hand, and then Debbie can unmute you.
Silence out there. What I will be doing is sending an opportunity. I'll send the presentation out to everyone that's been here today with a questionnaire to give you a chance to write anything down that you might think of, and so that we can answer any questions. But obviously you've got my email on that presentation as well. So if you need to ask any questions, forward them to me, and I will make sure that the right person answers them.
Has anybody, Andy, do you want to just spend a minute talking about the projects that we're doing at the moment with NCSC and the new stuff that we're bidding?
Yeah, sure. Perhaps what I'll do is, you mentioned some of the certification standards like 17024, so I'll cover those first, then the projects. Yeah. So from the first presentation that we did, one of the questions that came in was around recognition of these certifications, not just domestically, but more broadly internationally. And with the general trend of government policy and the standards and where the Cyber Council fits, it's quite clear that one of the key things that we need to do is become an internationally recognised certification body in order to do that. So one of our policy objectives and projects will be to seek to get Cyber Scheme 17024 certified, which should then layer in with what the council does in terms of international recognition of standards from the various member states. So it's an important element of the quality going forward and how we deal with things like conflicts of interest. One of the other common questions was around particularly things like the regulatory work that's going on and the requirements to support regulatory measurement of quality and standards, was that we would also look at the practicality of undertaking 17065 certification, because that allows you to make judgments around conformity of products, processes and services. And one of those areas is something like the Financial Conduct Authority Section 166A, competent persons framework is. So rather than auditing companies per se with our own audit standard, what we would actually do is an independent review of the quality statements. And hopefully for the regulators, that would add another level of quality to our supporting industry members, rather than ourselves having to say, well, these are the standards that you need to be operating to. So that's the reason for those two standards being on the forward load. We think they're important. 17024 is a priority though, but they will be quite challenging to get. So we will be looking for some support and effort for people who have some experience in that space to give us some advice and some guidance in support of that. In terms of the activities that we have been doing over the last few months since the first presentation, we have had an engagement session with the Prudential Regulatory Authority and the Bank of England again. We've not made any firm commitments to them. We did this back in 2017. And one of the things we have recognised is that the technology base and the structure of quite a wide range of financial institutions has changed quite dramatically since CBEST had first come in. So we need to ensure that whatever we do in that space better aligns with the state of the industry, technology and the vulnerability challenges when we consider certifications and risks. So we're in progress with that at the moment. The other thing, Charles mentioned Cyber Advisor. Just to be clear, that there's an exceptionally strong linkage. Almost the driving influence is the revised Cyber Essentials standards. The general perspective that as the technology in use by many, quite a lot of movement online because of the pandemic, has generated a whole new set of issues and risks, and the NCSC and IASME want to be certain that people out there giving advice are giving the right advice. So that's essentially what that particular assessment might be around in the future. We did a pilot with them about a year ago, and we're still developing on from that currently. We are in conversation with a regulator. I won't mention them specifically at this time, but it's an industrial style regulator about their vision and views for that sector. It's early stages. There are no active plans in place, but they are certainly keen to have a conversation. So we will be following that in the next month or so. You'll all be aware that the government published its government cybersecurity strategy 2022-2030, so for the next 8 years. And what Charles related to earlier was essentially how we align what we do with Chapter 7 of that strategy, which is all about the right cybersecurity skills, knowledge and culture. So it includes talent development and attracting and retention of talent and a whole range of things. So we're already doing elements of that with things like Check, but we want to make sure that all of our other offers align and underpin and support that strategy. And then more widely, the national cybersecurity strategy has very similar tones in it as well. So the importance is to make sure that what we're providing is not created left of field, that it actually does generally and genuinely add to things that people think are important. We have also had some initial conversations through another third party. We've had quite a lot of international interest in certification and standards lately. Again, our focus has been to support our core base. So we're keen to only take on, more complex external work once we are happy that the people that we're here to support, which is you and the domestic industry, even though some of you have international work, are the ones that are getting the majority of our focus time. So it's just to say that we are already getting questions, but we're trying to manage those sensibly, and we are bringing a little while. We've got Debbie on board. We're hoping to bring somebody else on board to sort of help underpin some of that going forward. So Charles, my final bit, Charles did mention the NCSC's reviews of structures. So the appetite at the moment with NCSC is to find people who can operate services on their behalf. So a little bit like IASME in Cyber Essentials. Some of you will know about CIR2. So how companies are both certified and supported and managed the cyber incident response at a national tier 2 level, so not the tier 1 stuff, but also somebody to operate and develop the national cyber exercising program. We expect there to be an invitation to tender for an operator of those services probably by the summer. We don't know. So the question mark again would be, should a cyber scheme consider applying for something like that in support of its industry support, its industry needs? But again, that's something that will come at some effort and some cost, and fits into the argument about where do we find enough clever people to pull.
Oh, Andy's disappeared.
Only 5 used, and let's talk about simulated. Yeah. Is something coming then? Not to worry. So the final bit was also, those of you within the Czech community will know that the NCSC has been looking at whether it has a certified standard for cyber adversary simulation. We haven't heard much more from them, although that work is still in progress. Some of you may be involved in that, completely separate to us. But again, we're keeping an eye on things to make sure that our processes and our responses align. So that's a quick run through of where we're at with various opportunities and plans. So any questions on that, happy to take further.
Okay, Debbie, over to you. Have we got any questions?
I am checking the chat box. I think there's a couple of questions in there that we will get across to the right people. Pete has asked, how do we foresee performing quality control over certifications, ensuring that they remain relevant to the ever-changing landscape? I appreciate the exams will be created by those in the industry. Will there be additional moderation?
Andy.
Yeah. So yeah, this is an interesting one, Pete, because there are some lessons to be identified from other areas and other industry types. So the one I've used the most, and with some of you, is for instance how civil aviation commercial pilots license, multi-engine, multi-operator licenses work. And most of you will know that in order to maintain certification, they go into simulated environments for a while just to make sure that their skills are refined and they're keeping on top of dealing with crisis. And that's mainly because the technology in the planes is so good, they very rarely do anything. Now, that wouldn't be the same for testers, but we are contemplating, we haven't yet embraced this with NCSC, is about the sustainment of certification journey, doing it differently, because if we're supporting the profession, this isn't a binary, you go for your driving test every 3 months, right? Or every 3 years. This is what do we need to do to underpin, and this comes out of the 17024 thing, is our plan to sustain the quality of certification. So we do know things have to change. The way we do it today isn't adequate enough. We need to support members, we need to support the people in the system, but equally we can't put too much of a cost burden on them to do that. So it's open for debate.
Debbie, any more?
Yep, a question from Victor. Basically, what is the rough time estimate for the new courses on RT and forensics, etc.?
Andy.
So as I alluded to, is typically for us at the moment we process things on a quite linear fashion because we have a limited resource. So it's sort of a fairly straight line. If we have more support and more both time, effort and money, we can start parallel tracks of development off, which should shorten the timelines. I won't promise that it would be really, really quick, because if we're doing the quality job that we're doing, it can take a while. I think it took cyber scheme originally, and it predates my arrival here, but Charles will remember, I think it took nearly 2 years to get our CTL exam certified by NCSC. We won't overpromise, but we could start off multiple threads of activity if we have the right style of support in place.
A question from Grant mentioned changes to the CTL equivalent exams. Are we going to detail what components have been added? This is getting into exam territory. Is this both for IMF and app? And are there syllabuses to support both?
Yeah, they're actually on the website, aren't they now? But we're happy to send that out to you, Grant. And I think if you look on our website, you'll find the updates of the new syllabus for CTL IMF and app. But we can also forward that on to you.
Yeah, it's mainly, I think, the space we have got to with NCSC on the breadth of their requirements. Elements of that are published. What people define as a syllabus tends to be a little bit more explicit and very specific. So we continue to work on the right supporting information to help people with their learning journey. There is more work to do, but as I pointed out just a few minutes ago, is that our challenge has always been capacity of effort to do that, and availability of people to sort of put the grunt into the paperwork. So it can take longer than we would like.
Just a point there, we don't have the app syllabus on the website, but if people have specific questions, I can always forward those on to people that can help. Don't have any other questions here at the moment, but if anyone wants to pop one into the message box, I'm happy to forward that. Otherwise, as I say, I will send out the opportunity for people to ask questions either this afternoon or on Monday, and then we can get a questionnaire published, let people know what questions are being asked and answered, get the membership forms. I'm already getting emails while I'm sitting here from people interested in becoming members. So thank you very much for that interest. And I will get that membership pack out to you next week. And again, anybody else that's interested, you've got my email address, so forward stuff to me initially. And if I can't answer it, I'll get it to somebody who can. And I've got various information, joining contracts and membership forms and stuff all ready to go. So we'll get that out to you. Just have a question come in from Gavin. How do you foresee the time allocations from members as part of their time donations?
Time.
Yeah, do you want me to do that one?
Yeah, sorry.
So in for some activities, a few hours here and there collectively built up over some weeks, etc., is a perfectly acceptable option. For some projects, especially if we've got multiple participants in, then we would need to make sure from a project management point of view that the core team are functioning together in a sort of a structured and a disciplined plan way. So we can be quite flexible in the way we manage a project and manage time. Because we do appreciate that some people might actually contribute by doing an hour or so in the evenings or weekends every now and again to help us, rather than a sort of I need to turn up for a day and be on the end of a call for a day. So with each of the projects, we hope to put some guidelines out of where we want to start, and therefore what type of activity and support we might need for that from people.
And just to take up on pick up from Andy's point, we will have somebody join us on the 10th of March who is going to come in to manage a lot of these projects and the time and effort and all the candidates coming through and all the people element. And we will be designing and defining an online portal where the work packages can be posted, and you, the members, can go on and look, and you can say, I want to be involved. And that way we will manage the time appropriately. So we don't want to get to a point for a smallish organisation that's been gifted us and gracious enough to give us their time and effort to then say, oh, we don't think, you put an hour in there. We want to make sure that time is recorded correctly and people are given the benefit of the work by through their own marketing efforts, given the benefit to go out and showcase the fact that they've worked with us on particular projects. So we will be bringing somebody on board who's going to manage the whole of that process. And they start, as I say, on the 10th of March. So there we go. Good. Any more, Debbie, or is that
just one from Peter that Andy's already answered on the message box, but just asking why there is a proliferation of cyber courses and how does this compare to other courses available?
Yeah, I mean, it's worth me just, I mean, when I was formerly inside the big building with a fence around it, one of the things that we get into is that a lot of businesses are looking at bringing critical skills in-house as well. So vulnerability analysis skills, management skills are pretty important to them. And if you just take, you know, a cross segment of industry today, if every business didn't have one and wanted a vulnerability analyst stroke manager tomorrow that had more than 20 employees, there would be 385,000 vulnerability analysts needed in the market. And it's that sort of, we are supporting an industry partnership, but there is this growth going on elsewhere. So that's probably also underpinning. So businesses may come to the likes of CyberScheme and or Request and all the rest of it to get certifications, but mainly just for a professional measure of competence when they're employing them as permanent members of staff as well. So I expect we'll continue to see it grow. We'll see more offers coming into the market, but clearly CyberScheme needs to be conscious of where it fits into that.
I think that's probably it for now, but as I say, I'll just reiterate, we will be gathering questions over the next few days. We are obviously at the beginning of this journey, so bear with us as we start to build out our membership packs and our requirements for all the sorts of information that we're going to need from everyone who wants to be a member. But thank you very much for sticking with us, and we'll get that out to you as soon as we can and get this ball rolling.
Thank you very much, everybody. It was lovely to have so many people here. Thank you for your time, and we will be in touch shortly.